It's amazing what a fresh perspective can teach us. Like realizing fishing isn't about
Chandler, aka Huxmaster J on Twitter or Twitch, right? That's your Twitch name?
What's going on? Yeah, my Twitch is Huxmaster J.
Sweet. So we're just here chatting, talking music, talking whatever. Thanks for coming by. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty all right, man. You know, just dealing with the COVID.
Yeah.
Locked in my room.
How was that?
It's been, okay, so it's not been terrible.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me wrong, because I can be introverted, so I like to kind of stay inside. You know, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, which has been amazing. So, but it's pretty lonely, I guess, in the sense of like I just want to walk out of my room, but I can't. You know.
Yeah, I bet that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Sounds terrible.
It's I live with my brothers and stuff, and they're for good reason pretty panicky about it. So they're like, if you need anything, just let us know. We'll drop it out at your room, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's good though, at least I guess. But
yeah,
no, I'm sure that's terrible to be living with though.
Yeah. I guess one of the shitty things is like I want to, I guess, use this time to like make beats or like play guitar or do things, but I get really just like unmotivated and out of energy really quick because of this, I think. So it's one of those things where it's like I have this time, but like I can only really use this time to like lay in my bed.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Especially if you like mentally feel like you want to do something, but then physically just can't go through with it.
Yeah, the other day I tried to make a beat and I just got tired within like 30 minutes. I was like, fuck. Yeah.
Dang. Sorry to hear that, man.
It's it's
doing
like
better though.
Yeah. I'm here.
Not on a ventilator, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God.
So,
the weirdest thing is that I can't taste or smell. So
really,
like
so
I'm
you're still dealing with that?
Yeah, that's one of the symptoms that's going to be there for like. They have no time frame of like God. you can not have COVID and still not be able to smell or taste for months.
Is it like completely no smell and taste?
Yeah, I can breathe out of my nose, but I cannot smell or taste anything at all.
Jeez, man.
I can tell when things are spicy or like super sweet. But other than that, I can't. Yeah, there's nothing.
That's really bad, especially with no timetable on when that would return.
Yeah, exactly.
God, I can't imagine. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where you're just like, I never knew what this would ever feel like, and now I do, and it's not like you can't live without it, I guess, but it's just one of those weird things where you're like, I used to love eating food, now it's just fuel, Ugh.
But... Hey, BZ, is that any better? Sorry, he says I'm coming in quiet.
Maybe.
Oof.
You're all right for me.
That's not good. Okay, way better. All right. Well, I mean, I guess aside from the COVID, is you been trying to like work more on the Twitch, or how's that been?
I got my my green screen. So that's pretty cool. It takes probably like 15 to 20 minutes to set up though, which is kind of shitty. But I mean I went out and I got like a big ass green screen and just to make sure that I had the dimensions that I needed and everything, and kind of went kind of go big or go home on it. So it does take a little bit of time to set up, but whenever I did stream the other day to hit affiliate, I needed one more day.
Hey, congrats on the affiliate, by the way. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I hit that, and it was cool to have the green screen on the stream that day.
That's awesome. That sounds so
I'm
cool.
excited to see like what more I can do with it, as I get more used to it.
Yeah, I've seen some people do some crazy stuff with green screens. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's a really cool tool to have.
yeah,
What about so you make music, right? For everyone who doesn't know anything about
yeah.
you.
For everybody who doesn't know,
Yeah.
I make music. I make beats. I write songs. I do all sorts of different stuff.
How would you
Um,
describe the type of music you typically make?
the type of music that I typically make. So there's a big thing that I have with being an artist, and that is I kind of want to do something different that nobody else has really done. Meaning I want to make an album for pretty much every genre that I can do.
Yeah.
Right? Because growing up, like when I was real young, my parents they always like had me listening to country music. So I know a lot of country music and things like that, and I kind of have, I guess, country roots in a sense. But so growing up with that, I kind of had that influence, and then once I hit like fifth grade or sixth grade, I started getting into more pop stuff and like hip hop stuff. Um, and funny enough, my parents were like, you shouldn't listen to hip hop and rap, um, just because of what they thought the influence was. And a lot of that, it's a very it's not necessarily like an epidemic, but it's a very real thing. A lot of people's parents were like, hip hop's bad,
Yeah,
um,
same. Well,
but
it's funny because my dad showed me like my first hip hop album, and
yeah,
then as I got more into it, it was like, no, hip hop's probably not the greatest to be listening to.
yeah. And you think about it, and you have like like Wu-Tang Clan and a lot of these older hip hop stuff. And you think about it for kids, you're like, I can understand, but at the same time, music's music, man, and I think that it comes down to a lot of just, if you know that your child is easily swayed, I guess it comes down to parenting, where it's like, if you know they're easily swayed and they're going to be doing bad shit because they're listening to bad shit, then obviously, you know, that's your place to come in and be like, hey, yeah, you shouldn't listen to this or whatever. But I wasn't out here doing bad shit. I was just listening to, fucking hip hop.
I mean, yeah. Also, like though, if you're telling someone they can't listen to music, odds are they're probably gonna want to listen to that music, though.
Exactly.
No.
But so with that being said, though, fifth or sixth grade, I started listening to more hip hop and pop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I have three older brothers, and they're all in their 30s. So, but I lived with them all of my life, right? So, they were like 16, 17 when I was, like 9, 10, coming into age, and they would listen to like metal and like Metallica and like Dragon Force and a lot of stuff like that. So, all throughout my life, I have just like listened to different genres and different parts of music just as a whole. And I think that that's really shaped the way that I view music now.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people, and there tends to be artists too. It's not as common with people who make music, but there are some people who are just like, yeah, I don't listen to country, I don't listen to this, I just listen to my style of music, and that's it. And this is the kind of music I create, and it's the only thing I listen to. Yeah. And there are some people like that, but I want to try to do something different as an artist by, taking all the different things that I listen to. And like right now, like I'm working on helping one of my good friends, Cartel, produce his like rap EP, and getting better at producing that way and actually putting in time and effort on production. But at the same time, I'm also doing a synthwave project for myself. I've got a single that I'm about to release. Actually, I was going to release it this month, but I got COVID. It's called Runaway, and it's like a synth pop thing. It's really cool. It's really fun.
Do you have like a favorite style that you've been making? Like, do you find one that you keep coming back to, or do you
definitely? Sorry, what was that?
No, go ahead.
right now I definitely I'm definitely into the synth wave, synth pop stuff.
Cool.
It's to make it, I guess, a little bit more like understandable, is more like modern retro, like 80s, like girls just want to have fun, or Knight Rider kind of thing, you know. Have you seen the movie Drive?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know like Miami Vice? How it's got like the neon and
Yeah,
like
so kind of like an Outrun style.
Outrun, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
So that kind of style it's really fun for me to do, to like ride in, because there's certain points you have to hit that kind of bring that nostalgia factor, and that's what like that genre is about, you know, is that nostalgia and that 80s retro, and you know, those kind of things. So it's a little bit easier to write in, because you write about specific things that you think would bring, you know, like my song, it's called Runaway, and it's just about me, or not me, but just a story about a guy and this girl that, you know, they have dreams and aspirations, and they're just gonna get in the car and drive and run away, kind of thing, you know. Like it's silly, but you know.
Hey, what works, you know. Oh, that's cool though.
Exactly.
So what kind
It's
of
fun.
inspired you more to get into that? Like, was there something specific that kind of set off your synthwave outrun interest?
Well, my brother actually showed me one of the songs. It's from this band called The Midnight, and I think they're my biggest inspiration for the synthwave stuff. But he showed me that, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is really cool. And it's one of those things where it's kind of a new genre. So I really wanted to, you know, be kind of one of the first people to get really into it. It's one of those things where I've watched it as months have gone on. I've been listening to The Midnight for almost like a year now, and as time has gone on, they continue to get more views and get bigger, and I see it becoming more mainstream, like with The Weeknd doing Blinding Lights, and Party, or not Party Monster, but what is the other one? He released Blinding Lights, and the other one that was really big, and they had that kind of synth sound.
There was In Your Eyes, which was very 80s-ish.
Yeah, that one too. Let's see. Yeah, Blinding Lights. Heartless, that's what it was. Heartless. Yeah, Heartless. What a good song. But it's got that kind of synth vibe to it, and I think a lot of what is starting to become mainstream is that synth, you know, 80s retro kind of sound. And I really want to not necessarily ride that wave, but because it is kind of, I'm passionate about that sound, I want to kind of enter into that and take it and do what I can with it, and kind of make it my own in a sense, I guess.
Oh no, yeah, I get that. I think there's a lot of like big mainstream movies, TVs, and music that's really pushing that to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you mentioned The Weeknd. He kind of dabbled with that, like Starboy. You know, that's had some 80s synth stuff.
Exactly.
Stranger Things, one of the biggest TV shows that kind of features a lot of 80s style.
Yes.
I guess we didn't get it, but that Wonder Woman was supposed to be in the 80s. And like the trailer and the music had like heavy synths, you know.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. Like, it's kind of a cheat code for me, because like I'll like instantly like anything that has like a heavy synth.
Yeah, that bass wave just bum 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 bum. Yeah.
It just sounds good.
It does. And you know, it's one of those things where we're getting to the point in music where we're kind of having to go back and, you know, and really look at what was so good in the 80s and in these years before, because we're running out of ideas. You know what I mean? The only way to start creating new stuff is to either just super get weird with it, or go back and look at some of the old catchy stuff and take what you can from that and make it into its own thing, you know. So that's why I feel like we're kind of not necessarily backtracking, but taking a look back into the old years and kind of seeing, like I said, what was catchy about it and remaking it.
Yeah, I can really see that. You see it in like all kinds of art. We see that in movies and TV and
Yeah,
just flipping old stuff to work for modern times, you know?
I mean that's the greatest thing about art in music, because there's a difference between like plagiarism, of course, and inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can be inspired by all sorts of different things and take that inspiration and make something, and people can go like, oh, that kind of sounds like Kendrick, or oh, that kind of sounds like, you know, that sounds like this song from the 80s or whatever. And you hit that nostalgia point, or that point of like, wow, I can see where he got inspiration from this. And people who really genuinely care about music and understand artists are going to be like, oh, that's awesome. You know, some people are going to be like, oh, he's trying to sound like Kendrick. Oh, he's trying to sound like that song from the 80s, because they don't understand, one, how much it takes, and two, just how hard it is to create something original, like completely original, you know, from nothing, from scratch, you know?
Oh yeah, you see it a lot with people like saying like, oh, someone stole someone else's flow or whatever. No, that stuff has been around for like decades. We're just flipping it around, you know?
Exactly. I mean, that's the greatest thing about sampling too, for hip hop beats. I think that it's crazy to think how different hip hop and rap especially would be if people were not allowed to get samples. You think about that, you know, we wouldn't have some of the greatest hits that we have today if it weren't for the fact that, you know, people could take the old stuff and make it into something new.
Yeah, I totally agree. I kind of think it's sad that, like, you know, they make it so hard for samples to get cleared sometimes.
It is
Especially
definitely
on, like, unknown artists, like people coming up. They either have to pay a lot of money or just, you know, try to hope it doesn't get noticed and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a big thing for me as like as a beat maker and producer. You know, I go through and I try to dive through a lot of older samples and older things to see what I can find that like doesn't have a lot of views, or the band has no longer, you know, replenished the copyright on it. Because when you copyright something, there's a limited amount of years that it is under that name, under that copyright or whatever. And then you have to either rebuy the copyright or go to court or whatever to get it replenished. Now, there's supposed to be a big thing like with Disney going on right now, how they are just endlessly copywriting all of their things. Like Mickey Mouse was supposed to go public domain a couple years ago or whatever, but they're just endlessly copywriting it and creating a problem, I guess monopolizing copyright because they have the money to do it. Now there's some people who don't have that luxury and don't have that ability. So a lot of these older bands, you know, where the band members have died or what have you, or the record labels just don't keep them, their music starts to become public domain, even though the song was catchy in, you know, the 40s, or the 50s, the 60s, you know. So I think that, you know, copyright is the biggest fuck all. It's absurd with some of the laws when it comes to copywriting. Now I get it and I respect it because, you know, people take a lot of time to make this music and they took a lot of time back then too. But like, man, you know, if a song was not big and there's no revenue coming from it anymore, just let it be public domain. Like, just fucking let somebody else take it and make it into something. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, then you also see, like, where they don't even notice like a sample, and then until like a song gets big, and then those people come back to try to claim it, and then the artists lose like all the money. Like you saw that recently with Juice WRLD and like his Lucid Dreams, where Sting has like 50% of the revenue, and like somebody else has like a big cut of it. That's like his biggest song, you know?
Yeah,
like
Yellow
like,
Card
no
just
money on
sued
that.
him for 15 millions.
Yeah, it's insane. And like I get it, like you can't just blatantly rip off something like that, but they should also make clearing samples an easier issue. Like,
yeah, and clearing samples is one of the hardest things in the music industry. I mean, if you listen to, that was a big reason why like a lot of Lil Wayne stuff, like the Carter 5 and everything like that, took a long time because of one, the record label, but two, sampling.
Yeah.
And if you listen to 2014 Forest Hills Drive, you know, at the end when J. Cole is doing like the credit scene, he's talking about just like how long it took to get the samples cleared for this album. Like it would have came out, you know, months before, but you know, and he had to wait for somebody in Japan to fucking clear a sample, and we don't even know what song was sampled. That's the thing. It's like you can't even tell.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
that
craziest part. Is
probably took a while.
Sometimes people flip the samples in just completely unrecognizable ways, and then it still doesn't get cleared or anything. And it's, at what point does that become a sample, or at what point does the sample become like a whole new thing?
Yeah, when does it become unique?
Cleared. Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It seems very tedious and annoying to have to deal with.
A crazy thing is you would, like, for me, right? I'm about to start putting out music to where it can be put on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And not just SoundCloud. Mm-hmm. I have to go through two separate companies, maybe even three, depending on, I have to, like, I guess email Spotify and figure out, but there's a company called TuneCore that will it copyrights your song for you, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have to go through the laws and everything like that to the court and do all that. It copyrights it for you, and then you have to put it through another company, another website. It's called BMI. It may be reverse, where either TuneCore or BMI, one of the two, they find, like, they search your song throughout the whole world, like throughout databases constantly, to see if your song is being used anywhere. And if they are, they will get your money to you, like for the song being used, right? So if you think about it, you know, if you just want to be an artist or whatever, and you start making a song and you're like, oh, this is cool, and then you put it out on SoundCloud or you know, what have you, and you think, oh, I want to make money off of this, you have to go through multiple different other hoops before you can get that song out. And that's not even like talking about ads or promotion or anything like that. That is strictly just so that you can have your song available on streaming platforms. Even if you were like, oh, I didn't want to make music off of this, you would still have to do that stuff, you know? Jeez, and that's what I'm about to do.
To deal with.
It's pretty tedious. Yeah. It's pretty tedious, and you know, then you have to deal with other people. Like for me, I wanted my stage name to just be Hux, right? But there's like 4 other Huxes, you know, and I'm not about to go through that copyright battle. Like, I don't have lawyers or anything, and you know, whether or not their name consists of Hux in general, they already, you know, are verified or what have you on Spotify, and there's music under that name already. So I have to kind of change it up myself. And you know, go from there. I think one of the crazy things about you know, like having to go through TuneCore and go through these companies is, one, thankfully they have those companies now, because they didn't used to before all the streaming platforms and everything like that. You would have to go through a promoter or a record label. And that's why a lot of these artists and a lot of these rappers get sucked into these shitty ass labels and contracts, because they don't, one, read it, because they're, you know, it's fucking, you know, 8 pages of fine print, you know, And you take somebody from a shitty environment who just wants to make it big, and you tell them, "Oh, we'll give you $1 million, and here's the contract, sign it." They're gonna go, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, they don't look at it as like a big contracting. They look at it as a way to get out of where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. That's. I mean, the industry has preyed on these people.
Yeah, so it's hard to be like, artists need to be smarter. It's hard to say that because I don't know. The blame shouldn't be really on the artist. It's the label should be held more accountable for screwing people over.
Exactly. It's accountability. It's kind of a yin and yang kind of balance thing, because the artist needs to be more aware of what they're reading. Yeah.
They shouldn't just sign their whole career away.
Exactly.
On a big advance. That's why some artists that do it smart, like several years back, like when 21 Savage was still holding out for a label, he waited until he could get like his own his masters.
Yeah.
Like people are so quick to sign those over without realizing that's where your money comes from. Mm-hmm. It's just the long-term royalties off that.
Yeah, there was actually I was just reading a tweet the other day about a lot of the people that Diddy signed to his labels, to Bad Boy Records and stuff like that. And like these groups, there was like a group called like B5 and some other groups where they'd put out an album. They were, one-hit wonders kind of thing. And they got, 99% of the revenue from their shows and their merch sales, but they have never seen any of the revenue from the album sales or, the record sales. And that could be upwards. I mean, it doesn't even matter how much money it is.
Yeah.
That's money that you earned because you were the artist.
Mm-hmm.
But it all goes to the label and allows somebody else to eat. And that's a big thing too. I think, I think it was Russ was talking about something on a big stage interview about how, once you start to get some following and get some clout, these lawyers will come to you and say, hey, give me 10% of this and I'll cover everything else for your label. Like if you have anything that goes wrong, I'll be the guy to go through. I just get this amount, like this percentage of all your sales. And he was like, just tell them no. Like, why would I give you 10% of all of my sales? You're not doing anything. You're there as a backup. Mm-hmm. Like you're the just in case guy, just in case I fuck up or whatever, or I have, there's no reason to have somebody like that where you're giving them a percentage. Now, if you're like, I'll give you this amount of money per hour or whatever, and use you whenever I need you, that's one thing. But if they're trying to sign up a contract with you of like, here, let me take 10% of all your sales and, I'll be here. It's like they're doing nothing and you're doing all this work and they're getting 10%. And if you're making a shit ton of money, they're making a shit ton of money for doing nothing. You know what I mean?
It's really screwed up. And you see a lot of artists dealing with that, especially like 360 artists, where they don't even get all the revenue from touring and merch.
Right.
Like the label's just eating off of everything.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing with Lil Wayne and Young Money.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Birdman has so much money.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, I mean, I have to think other people that on that level have similar contracts at some point. They can't be just Lil Wayne, That's insane.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you have a lot of these artists, like Jay Sean. I don't know that name is kind of ancient now, but
oh yeah, that's an old name.
But Down was one of the biggest hits of all time, but he didn't see half the shit from it. It's one of those things where it's these record labels just what was it? Fueled by Ramen. I think I read something about them being shitty. Because they had gotten bands like Paramore and Sleeping with Sirens and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's either they were shitty or they were one of the good ones. It's something like that. I read something about Fueled by Ramen, and they were like one of the first YouTube labels, and that you had these labels that were kind coming straight through YouTube and finding these artists on YouTube and whatever, and not telling them that they were making money off of the ads and off of the stuff from YouTube. So there's so many different things that these record labels can do to fuck over, bands and artists because they just don't know.
Yeah.
It's a big problem. It's one of the most rampant problems in the industry. But the thing is that people like you and me, we're figuring that out now. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see this more and more as time goes on. It's starting to be exposed more, which is cool because like back then it wasn't being exposed at all.
Yeah.
The only one who was really trying to expose it was like Nipsey Hussle, and
Prince used to go on like rants about it.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't. Either people just weren't noticing it as much, which was a big thing because we have social media and stuff.
Right.
But also, I mean, there probably was, or no, not probably, but it was a lot harder to go alternative routes.
Yeah.
Now that we have the internet just to release music whenever we want makes it way easier.
I mean, you think about it this way. It's so crazy that just like 3 or 4 years ago, we were still buying, songs off of iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, streaming has changed the game.
Yeah.
Ever.
Just 10 years ago, I was, 12 years old and I was using LimeWire to illegally get songs. You know what I mean? Now I never will have to worry about having, music illegally.
Yeah.
But like that was a big problem back then.
And like I would never do that now because it's just too much work.
Yeah.
Streaming has just simplified the process for everything.
Yeah. Which brings the argument or the battle that streaming is killing record labels, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Down with the monarchy, the record labels, you know what I mean?
Because I mean, you even see that like the reach of the record labels like creeping into stuff like YouTube. Like last week I was talking to Brandon on here, and as soon as I finished the stream and uploaded it to like YouTube, instantly like my monetization, like I don't make money off of YouTube, but instantly any chance for that video was taken away because there was a peep of a song on there.
Right.
And then a few weeks ago we were discussing an album which is covered under like fair rights. We can play music as long as we're discussing it. But like that was taken away too. And I have to like fight that, and that's annoying because I'm not seeing any money anyways. I'm a small creator. But it's annoying to have to fight that as I'm trying to make content.
Yeah, exactly. Like why I'm just a fucking creator who is talking about music.
Yeah.
And
I'm not trying to rip off your music and play it for thousands of people getting around and buying it, I'm
not
just talking
making revenue off of this.
Yeah. It's kind of an annoying nuisance to deal with.
Yeah, and if I were making revenue off of it, it's because people are enjoying what I'm talking about, not the, song.
Yeah.
Not because of the music that's playing in the background. It's because I said, "Oh, this sucks," and they all went, "Yeah, this sucks." Like.
I think last week it was even something like, I had a playlist that was streaming safe music or whatever. But it ended and it like played a random song, and that one random song got it like completely screwed over.
Damn,
that
dude.
sucks. Yeah.
It does suck.
Oh well, whatever. I guess what can I do?
Yeah. Just take on a $1 billion corporation. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Easy. So, what about like your personal listening music? What kind of genres do you? I know you said you listen to a lot of different stuff, but is there something you kind of gravitate more than others?
For me personally, I kind of get on kicks.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'll spend like 3 months listening to a specific sound or specific artists that I find or what have you.
Yeah. So, what's your latest kick?
Latest kick, honestly, I've been gravitating a lot towards the synthwave stuff again. I was on a synthwave kick for a while, and then I started to get on this more like Nick Mira type stuff. I do listen to a lot of Juice WRLD very often, just because Juice WRLD's Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
that sound is just one of those things where it's like it's always, you can always go to it. You know what I mean? There's a group that I found. They're Australian, I think. I didn't find them. One of my friends showed me, and they're called Chase Atlantic. And they have this like super high quality production and like trap beats, and kind of this Sleeping with Sirens kind of like vocal sound.
Interesting.
But it's like glorified drug rap, kind of like how Juice WRLD is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like lean with me, pop with me kind of thing. They have that same kind of style, but you know, even though I don't do drugs, I can still listen to the music and be like, "Oh, this is fun," you know, like this is a good time, and they're really cool. Their music is really fun to listen to. Like, and I have them in a playlist with like Black Bear and there's Lil Skies and kind of just like the glorified, you know, trap rap, I guess. Yeah. Trap pop.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. Like,
but
personally, similar, like I kind of all over the place at
yeah.
times. Like, you know, there's sometimes where I'll be stuck on an album or an artist.
Right.
Or their kind of thing. And I mean, usually it sticks within the realm of like hip hop and R&B.
Yeah.
I did listen to a lot of different stuff growing up, but it's always been hip hop. Like that's been my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So it's hard to it's hard enough to keep up with like new releases every week of hip hop, much less new releases of like every genre.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I think hip hop and rap, they are the biggest biggest thing where it's like, hey, look at this release. You know, like this guy's dropping a mixtape, this guy's dropping an album. Like I can't tell you how many times where like one of my favorite bands, it's like a post-hardcore band. They're called Dance Gavin Dance, right? Mm-hmm. They've released albums like every year for the past 4 years, but I never know that they release an album until I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to Dance Gavin Dance today, and then I see, oh, a new album. What the fuck? You know, it's never like anticipated where I'm like, I can't wait for Dance Gavin Dance to release their new album, or you know, what have you. It's always, you know, Pop Smoke just released an album, or Juice WRLD just released an album, or this person. You know, these popular artists.
Fallout of hip hop being like the biggest genre now. You know,
yeah,
it's overshadowing everything else and influencing everything else.
Yeah,
from country to rock to.
Yeah, you know, the country rap is just fucking awful, but I guess respect, you know, the fact that it's being influenced, you know.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see, like, I mean, yeah, hip hop's always been on the rise, but even just the last 5 years, how far it's come.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it, you go listen to like 90s, 2000s stuff, and you realize that a lot of the bigger stuff was like, you know, like Jimmy Eat World and Yellow Card and Green Day and, you know, these bands that are actually like rock. You know, rock was the big thing. And now it is more and more, like as the years have gone on, hip hop is the reigning supreme, you know?
Oh, yeah. And I don't know when that's going to slow down either, because hip hop is so open to evolving, unlike I've noticed with other genres. You know, hip hop changes month to month, week to week sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, when you know, it's so funny to think about how when you have like whenever the era of Lil Uzi came in, right? And everybody's like, what the fuck, trap beats? Like, this was, nobody knew what trap was until, you know, like Lil Uzi really put it into the mainstream. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago now, but
I don't know. I think
when you think about it,
we definitely had trap before, like, you know, maybe it wasn't to the same level that Uzi was doing it, but I think trap has been on the climb for a long, like, even with like Future, you can take it as far back as like Waka Flocka as Chief Keef as influencing modern trap. Yeah, trap
I think that's like
T.I., but the new style trap, while I'll agree with you, Lil Uzi definitely helped, you know, influence the modern style. Future kind of like it really kicked it off. especially with
yeah.
DS2.
I think necessarily what I mean by trap, I guess, is like that the real like super heavy 808s like Nick Mira type beat kind of thing. Like Chief Keef is like I guess the god. I want to say like Chief Keef and Future are like the godfathers of trap music. You know what I mean?
Definitely
Where
modern
like,
trap music. They like paved the way. And even Chief Keef isn't straight up trap. He's more drill, but drill really influenced the modern trap.
Oh yeah.
Because modern trap is not. I won't say nothing, but it's not really like, the original trap with like T.I. and stuff.
Right.
It's completely different.
Yeah. If Love Sosa never came out, then you don't have Don't Like, and then you don't have Kanye and them hopping on Don't Like. Then you don't have parts of Yeezus and like Click and Mercy. Like if you like, these as you see it go on, like
Chief Keef has a deep reach on hip hop, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, and without
Especially
Chief
since
Keef,
he was
you
only
don't have
16 when he made that. That's another thing. He was 16 and changed the sound.
Fucking absurd.
No, but I mean, I agree with you. I guess there's so many artists that we may not even be actively realizing how much they've changed the sound.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have like Kevin Gates. Even a lot of people don't give a lot of credit to Kevin Gates, but I think Kevin Gates made a big wave in hip hop and rap as well. With that kind of the almost half singing flow kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like
I get you.
Like Two Phones, he had a lot of hookiness going on with a lot of his flows and raps. And Luca Brasi and all these tapes, he has a very like almost half singing flow and kind of hook to his style.
I mean, his
while also rapping about drugs and shit. So
I'd say Fetty Wap was there too, even though like his career was a lot shorter. That sing rap was
baby. Yeah, that shit, man.
Another one I didn't realize it until 40, the producer for Drake, was talking about headlines. I forgot what interview it was recently, but he's like, if you go back and listen to headlines, it's not rap. He's like singing the whole song.
He is,
in a way that sounds like rap.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Kind of like you don't realize it until somebody actively points it out.
It's revolutionary.
Like, wow, that really changed a lot of the things we're hearing now.
Yeah, you want to know who I think is one of the most influential artists of all time?
Who?
And especially for modern music? Motherfucking T-Pain, man.
Oh,
T-Pain.
I 1000% agree with you.
T-Pain.
The use of like auto-tune to the way he like... Shut up, Fab.
All I know is influential. Elton John.
No, I agree with you though. I don't think enough people realize that. And even when he makes he still makes music, and it doesn't sound dated. Doesn't sound like somebody old trying to make modern music.
No,
He's ahead of the time.
He's been ahead of his time. He's constantly ahead of his time. Also, I mean, one of the people who have really paved a way for storytelling and artistry like that is Kendrick and Cole. I mean, they're greats and they're legends for a reason.
I think they brought like the concept story album to a new generation.
Yeah,
that maybe wasn't looking for that actively.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I know Good Kid, Mad City. Like, I had that on repeat like all the time.
Exactly. And here's the thing: good Kid, real influence is Neil Young.
Wow. Okay, Sleaze.
Alrighty.
Neil Young influenced the trap scene. You heard it here.
Good Kid, Mad City came out in an era of you had Macklemore with fucking
dude. Don't get me started on that. Like that was that year was rough.
Let's look at let's look at the
because the Grammys that year were Yeezus, The Heist, Good Kid, Mad City, Nothing Was the Same. Was it Yeezus or was it Watch the Throne? I don't remember, but
I think it was Jesus.
That was a stacked year. Yeah, that was an insane year for hip hop releases.
Yeah, hip hop releases of 2012. I think that's what. Yeah. So we had. It actually might have been Watch the Throne because he had Cruel Summer.
Because whichever that Grammys was just.
We had Dreams and Nightmares that year.
Mm-hmm.
Life is Good by Nas. Good Kid, Mad City. Habits and Contradictions, Schoolboy.
Okay.
Ab-Soul had an album that year. The Heist, Pluto by Future. That's the one that had Turn Out the Lights, I think. Big Crit had an album that year. Good lord, I didn't realize how many people.
Oh, so even just looking at the Grammy nominees, it was The Heist, Nothing Was the Same by Drake, Jay-Z's Magna Carta, Holy Grail, Kendrick's Good Kid, and then Kanye's Yeezus. So even if you just look at the nominees, like that was a big year.
That's a huge year, and I mean, and you think about it, those styles are all, I guess they're pretty similar, but Good Kid, Mad City was just on a different level.
Oh, of course. I just remember like the fallout of that in Grammys, like with Macklemore winning. I remember just like everyone was just livid.
Even Macklemore fucking tweeted. He was like, "Dude, I'm sorry." Like, yeah, like when you know just that, like that's on some legendary shit, you know. Yeah. Like when the winner goes, "Man, here, just take it, bro. Like, have it."
I don't even think he's in the top 3 of those nominees.
No, not at all.
I think he's like Nothing Was the Same is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Right.
Well, I mean, I guess 3 of Yeezus is also up there, but like, man, I don't know if it's my bias or what, but I was mad.
That's the year I stopped watching the Grammys. Like, straight up. Like, and
yeah.
You know, and when you really think about it, a lot of people don't realize how much Yeezus influenced a lot of the new wave as well with the new trap, like Uzi and these super heavy bass trap artists. Yeezus took it and gave, you know, these kids kind of a way to be like, oh well, you know, Kanye tried it, at least I can try it.
No, yeah, I think at the very least, because I remember a lot of people hated on a lot of the production on it. Like, I think I've loved that one ever since I heard it. I can see why people didn't like it. I
didn't like it at first because I was more into, you know, Good Kid, Mad City and kind of sad rap and kind of things like that, you know. But as I started to get older and as I started to become more of an artist, I realized just how influential that album is and just how good it is.
I think I really took to it so fast because that was like when I was going through a big EDM phase. So I was like, oh, Daft Punk is helping with this. And a lot of the production just sounds like insane. So I liked it. And then, like you said,
it's crazy.
I think a lot of people are, well, Kanye got away with it. I can do whatever I want, basically. Because I don't think I've heard anything as crazy as Yeezus since then.
No, I mean you're not going to either. That was some. I mean, he featured God on it. That's some otherworldly shit, man. You know, like
you ain't topping that one.
Yeah, but he. I mean, when you look at it, when you know, that's kind of the downfall of Kanye. Is going so far.
See, me and Brandon were talking a lot about Kanye last week.
Really?
I think Yeezus was probably my last one that I can point at as being like really good. Even though I personally really loved The Life of Pablo, because that was right when like
full a real album. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. Like, that's when Kanye really changed like his release pattern, with it being so chaotic. I think. Yeah. The precedent of updating an album was very interesting, but I think while it's good, it can also be detrimental. Like,
I think it was absolutely detrimental.
He didn't even Saint Pablo. He put on 2 weeks after or whatever. And it's like one of the best tracks on the album.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
know what you're releasing before you release it.
Oh
like,
yeah, and then
at least have
constantly
a
missing
plan.
release dates. Like I get delaying stuff, but when it's an hour away from your release date, like we're still
Yeah.
waiting on Donda. That
Yeah,
was supposed to be a week
if that
ago.
ever comes.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on a what was it?
TurboGrafx 16,
Yeah,
Yandi.
yeah.
Jeez. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
I
Kardashian curse really is taking a hold of him.
The Life of Pablo was probably marked the downfall of Kanye for me. I mean, even since then, he like Kids See Ghosts is another
Kids See Ghost
favorite
is good.
album of mine. Like I don't think Kids See Ghosts is a skip.
No,
But
yeah, no, I don't
really think
either.
that was really Kid Cudi's doing.
Yeah, I can only imagine that they went to the studio together, and Cudi was like, "Look, I get it, man. Let's just get away." And it was just one of those getaway albums where like he brought him back to his roots and back to his core, and they made some dope shit. But when all was said and done, they went back to their homes and everything was lost again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
'Cause, like,
with what were you gonna say?
I was just saying because I was coming off the heels of Yay, which to me felt like Life of Pablo throwaways. You know, like,
Exactly.
it wasn't even a whole new album.
Yeah. When you look at what was the album? Fuck. Oh, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. During the production process for that album, he had everybody who was in the studio with him, like living with him.
Mhm.
They were going to the studio at the same times every day. They were, going in suits and watches. Like he had a strict pattern and a way that he was producing this album, and what made the album so good. So I think with Kids See Ghosts, they kind of did that same kind of thing where it was like, let's go together, me and you. We're gonna have this idea. We're gonna make it happen, and it happened. But I think with Kanye making music on his own, he can't do it anymore. He's got too much other shit going on that he just fucking. He may start something and it may start to sound cool or sound good, and then he fucks it off.
I think there's a whole lot. Yeah, there's that. I think he's surrounded by a lot of yes men now that aren't really telling him things he need to hear about his music.
Yeah.
His focus isn't all about music.
I mean, when he was signed to The Rock, like Jay-Z was telling him like, yo, this shit sucks, or like, this is good. Like
He had somebody holding him accountable for stuff.
yeah.
And like, I don't know. It sucks to see because like Kanye is like one of my favorite artists, and it just
Yeah, same, but
and it sucks because like I hear that his production is still there. Like even with Jesus is King, like even though the lyrical content wasn't what I was expecting, the actual
was still
production was great. Like
Yeah.
Selah is amazing in my opinion.
yeah.
He's still
Christ-like was
there.
really good.
Yeah, he's still there, and I just hope he kind of comes back.
I think that musical genius is still there, but I think he's just too far out of his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're under that kind of spotlight for so long, and you have the disorders that he has, where he feels like he has to be number one, everything, and once you realize that people are clowning you, or you've made mistakes, or whatever the fuck, I think it's just too far gone.
I think that level of pressure is too much for people that don't have mental problems.
Right.
Like when you're that revered as an artist and constantly expected to be putting out great albums, that's a lot of stress. And then you add like something like bipolar on top of that.
Yeah.
That's not
I
good.
think he should have taken the route that Logic's taking right now and saying, look, I'm having a kid, I'm retiring. I might come out and do some more stuff later on, but for now, nothing. like this is my end,
I think
At
we're
what
seeing that
part-
with J.
at-
Cole too. He's like seems to be working on like his last album,
Yeah, the follow-up's going to be really good though.
I think so. I thought that 2-pack he released was fire.
It was some heat,
I thought that
man.
was awesome.
It's the most tasty 2-pack I've heard in a long time.
Especially like, I think Forest Hills worked great with the no features and a
Right.
lot of in-house stuff. But I think that didn't work as well on like, KOD. For Your Eyes Only, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on that anytime I listen to it. But
So
Cole on other people's production is just, he kills it. And
yeah, he's kind of like Drake in that sense. He don't miss when he's on other songs. But with For Your Eyes Only, that album, if you really go back and listen to it and really go back to understand like where it was really coming from, you realize how good of an album it was.
Oh yeah, I think people wrote it off too quick.
Yeah. I think the problem that happened is, or what I think should have happened, is because he had put out promotion and stuff like that. People were like, yeah, Cole's going to be dropping a new album. It's going to be great, whatever. And then he releases For Your Eyes Only. What should have happened was he should have released, if he had it ready, he should have released KOD then. And then as the no date drop should have been For Your Eyes Only. I think people would have taken to it more and been like, oh, this is just an album he had for whenever his friend died, and he released it with no date because, it wasn't something that was supposed to be hyped up and people to be ready for,
It also
I think
sounded
KOD
like the
was
content
better.
was aimed for older years, A lot of it was just growing up, and I don't think a lot of his demographic was really ready for
that age. No, yeah. I mean, even I myself, like I enjoyed the album.
Yeah, but I still don't get it. I don't get it fully.
Yeah. Now, as I've gotten older, and I've gone through more things, I start to understand it more and start to enjoy it more. But I was 17 at the time, and I didn't give a shit. I was like, like this is a cool story, but like this isn't Forest Hills Drive. I want something I can bounce with my friends to. Where's my Fire Squad? There wasn't anything of that capability on there, and I think that it was just poor timing, really. If I would have been 17 and fucking Motivate came out,
he's back. Baby. What's up, Sleaze? Welcome back.
I'd be bouncing to that shit.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I think KOD even also has a lot of content that wasn't really received well. I mean, a lot of people thought he was dissing like a bunch of young rappers. But if you go back to the song, it never sounds like he really is.
No, people got butthurt over the fall off, or the intro to the fall off, 1995 or 1985.
I think people get butthurt at what he says, anyways. Like if you remember, he made that one song, "False Prophets," which seemed to be talking about Kanye.
Yeah, it was definitely
instantly was like mad trash talking him. Like, why would he ever dare speak about Kanye like that? And everything he said has been like exactly what Kanye's been doing,
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you go back and listen to that song now, it's even more hurtful. Like,
yeah,
because
it's more
really like what Kanye did.
Yeah, and Cole could see it.
Yeah, I think
he was trying to hold Kanye accountable. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was his moment of like, hopefully he listens and does something. Same thing. Yes, I've listened to the new Logic. Sorry.
No, you're good, dude. What'd you think of the new Logic album? Sorry to derail it, but
no, you're good. No, I enjoyed the new album a lot. I think that it was a good ending album.
What did you think of like some of his recent albums?
Okay, so I'll just start from the top.
Yeah, let's do it.
When it comes to his actual albums. Now the mixtapes, they're fucking undefeated. They're legendary, right?
Let's talk about albums.
But albums. So Under Pressure
Classic.
is classic.
I love Under Pressure.
Under Pressure is amazing. He was definitely under pressure and he made diamonds there. Incredible True Story. I love the Incredible True Story. I was there for the Incredible True Story tour.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I went on that tour whenever he came to House of Blues.
I liked the concept of the album. Like I remember really liking that album.
Yeah, it was a great concert. I went with Jacob Zaborski actually, which is funny. Because he doesn't really like Logic that much anymore. But we went. It was a great time, and I used to get a lot of motivation from Never Been.
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school at the time, I think, so it was one of those things I could just put on while walking through the halls, and it was amazing, right? And then what was his third album? Was it Everybody?
I think it was Everybody.
Let's see.
Because he's got the Bobby Tarantino's, but I think those were like technically mixtapes or whatever.
I don't really fuck with Bobby Tarantino's.
Really?
One.
Okay.
So I don't get me wrong. I like Trap Logic, but I much rather prefer actual hip hop Logic than Trap Logic. Does that make sense?
I get it. For me personally, a lot of like the boom bap style Logic kind of got old a little bit, and it was nice to hear him on some more. I don't want to say modern because it's not like his production has ever been old style, but I guess it was nice to hear him on like what's hot sometimes.
Yeah. No, I can understand that because I mean, on Incredible True Story on I Am the Greatest, it was fucking heat, and I remember them releasing the trailer for that before the album came out, and I was like, holy shit, Logic's about to get on a trap beat. This shit's crazy.
Because honestly, the True Story is, even though I really liked the album, that's kind of when I started to fall off on Logic.
Yeah.
Not that like he did anything bad. I think it was just my taste changing a little bit. Because with the Everybody, I heard it once and then kind of never really returned to it.
Yeah, right. Same. I don't really like Everybody that much. Young Sinatra 5 or 4.
I like that. I like some songs off of it. I don't think I liked the whole album.
I really enjoy Young Sinatra 4. But yeah, I can understand not liking the whole album as a whole. I mean, there's only a couple songs that I still go back to, like 4 or 5 of them. There's like that string where it's Everybody Dies to Return, and then Wu-Tang Forever, and then Street Dreams 2, the one that he dedicated to Mac, and then Last Call. I think I go back to those pretty often, and I really enjoy that the boom bap Logic. Now, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I'm not gonna say that I didn't enjoy it, but I don't know. I thought it was cool that he had the Will Smith feature on there.
I think I
really
immediately went to that track because like I wasn't really hyped for the release, but I was like, he got Will Smith, and so like I like went to listen to that one and then shuffled like the rest of the album for a little bit on the way to work.
Right. So there was a couple things I noticed with Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. The production wasn't too great. Personally, I think that it was almost like a throwaway album.
I could see
kind of felt like.
Yeah.
I enjoy No Pressure, right? I enjoyed it a lot. I think Soul Food 2 is cool. A lot of people seem to really like Dad Bod, where he's just talking about his like normal shit he does throughout the day, and I wasn't really fucking with it, but like I respect it,
I thought it could have been handled worse, like how we saw with Chance,
Right.
So I'm kind of like, it wasn't bad.
It wasn't terrible, but I thought the production on it was really good on the whole album.
I've been talking. That's another thing we talked with Brandon last week was, I think 6 has really carried him through a lot of his downs in his career. Not that he's like terrible or whatever, but 6 really helped. And then especially with No ID helping out on this album. I mean, No ID is an icon.
You can definitely hear the No ID influence. Brandon says YS4 was a throwaway to me. I can understand that. You have like 100 Miles and Running and Ordinary Day and One Day, the Ryan Tedder song. I mean, some of those songs didn't need to be made.
YS4 like touted as like a full album, or was that one a mixtape?
It was touted as an album.
Okay. With No Pressure, I think I've heard it like twice, or a little over twice. I heard it like halfway again recently.
Yeah.
I like it. I just don't know how much of it I'm going to return to or save to my library.
Exactly. I don't love this album, but I do think that it's enjoyable. And I think it's a good end,
Oh yeah, I think it's a good way to go, especially because it seems like a lot of people are liking it.
He gets on themes, or can or won't falter from that theme of the production. So yeah, I could definitely see that.
Like this one's definitely about like more him transitioning to his home life. Not bad. Like I think that's a great topic he wanted to talk about, but Also,
I
not
think
really what I'm looking for right now
yeah,
because I'm not in that same mind space.
it might be something that we go back to once we get older and start to realize some of the things. But I also think, had he followed along the path of like the incredible true story and coming up with these concepts,
The album, I'm talking about how awful my life been, but also check it, I'm rich.
yeah,
I mean, I see that. I mean,
I definitely see that.
by all accounts of his, Logic had a pretty rough growing up. I don't see
Definitely.
why he can't keep talking about that. But I
Yeah,
do see, like, I do see what you're saying, Sleaze. It's part of it came off like a little, like, I don't really want to hear this right now. But also, there were some really good songs on No Pressure.
yeah.
I mean, plus
It's
the
like,
intro was awesome. We were talking about that last week. Like, as soon as I heard like the Snake cameo, I was like,
oh
what?
yeah, yeah. Have you listened to John Bellion?
No, I don't think so. Doesn't sound familiar.
So John Bellion is an artist who he's one of my favorite artists of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 3 or 4 albums out right now, I think. Let's see. I think he has. So he technically has 5, but you don't have to listen to the first album if you don't want to. But John Bellion produced The Monster by Eminem. He wrote and produced The Monster.
Okay.
He's been one of those guys who's gotten Grammys for songs that nobody knew that he was the guy on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that song that's like now I'm at an all-time low, 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 low. That song?
I think so.
It's like it was pretty mainstream for a while. He toured with like 21 Pilots and stuff like that at one point.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But he is one of the most, he's my biggest inspiration as an artist. He produces all of his own stuff. He writes all of his own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote trumpets and produced trumpets for Jason Derulo. Like a bunch of different songs for a bunch of different artists, like Graveyard for Halsey. He's made all of these hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the most genuine. Like I had a meet and greet. I had met him in 2017, I think, and one of the most just genuine artists that I've ever met or heard. But you can hear the quality in his music as well, and he's really made his own kind of genre. Like I can't even really explain to you like what his genre is. He's got a lot of hip hop inspiration, like he's worked with No ID and stuff like that. He's got a Piccolo cameo on his most recent album.
That's pretty dope.
Where he had met like with people from Funimation,
Mm-hmm.
and they came in and did voice tracks for him. So like it's actually Piccolo, like, this Bellion guy, his power level is amazing, like and so he has a lot of pop stuff, a lot of like amazing production kind of stuff, like orchestral stuff, as well as some hot ass beats, so give him a look. I think you should listen to Hand of God is a good one to listen to. Now it's the outro of the album, so it's going to be like the best song on the album, but you'll be like, it's kind of one of those hooks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on the Human Condition album. And then Glory Sound Prep, you should listen to Adult Swim, and you'll kind of see his kind of rap kind of side. But man, I think you would really like him.
I'll have to give it a shot.
Yeah. But he sings and he raps and all that kind of stuff. But I think that he has what I'm reaching for as an artist, that ability to just take so many different things and make it into a new genre, just like make something completely different.
Yeah, you're not trying to be boxed into one label.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
I like that we see a large amount of artists going that way. Was it Lil Yachty that was like, I'm not a rapper, I'm an artist or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like, why would you just want to be boxed into one thing? I remember
exactly.
hearing, there's an interview Drake did where he was like talking about how mad he was that not only did Hotline Bling get nominated. Oh, thanks for the follow.
Sorry,
Hotline Bling got nominated and won like a rap award when he was trying to submit it for like a pop award.
Mhm.
And I mean, he didn't like that it was getting boxed in like that. I think there's a lot to like getting rid of genres. It's such an outdated way of thinking.
Yeah, I think it's good to start in a genre, but I think if you're truly want to be an artist, I think that it's good to to make your own thing. Everybody always says like, just do what you want to do, man. Just do your own thing. But and I know it sounds cliche, but really, I mean, when it comes down to it, as an artist, you should want to just fucking be out there, just to make something new, just be creative and use that.
Well, I mean, if we want to be real about it, I think a lot of genres have a lot of like racial origins.
Right.
And
yeah.
Just getting rid of that would be so much better for the culture.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, it's crazy because we didn't have to really see it happening. Because we were really young at the time, but like, Eminem coming into the rap game was a fucking just, mind blowing.
People didn't even want to touch him. Like they didn't want to help him get signed and stuff.
Exactly. There was a very big racial thing, and it's also you kind of see now with I don't know if you know the artist Kane Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He's a black country singer.
Okay.
Or he's mixed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, at first were like, "What the fuck?" Black country singer. You had like Cowboy Troy, but like and then you get Darius Rucker, but Darius Rucker was part of Hootie and the Blowfish. But this guy like actually came in as like, "Yeah, I'm a country singer." And they're like, "You're black." He's like, "I know." Like it's just.
I think that was a big part of the whole thing with Lil Nas X. The
exactly
Town Road, like it's a lot of genres come down to that, and it's such outdated. Like we don't need that in art right now.
Mm-mm.
Why not just let people make what they want to make?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of people who tried to box in Frank Ocean as a rapper because of Odd Future.
Yeah.
And then they realized, like, I think Frank Ocean did the best job of being like, "Fuck you guys, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do," and it got to the point where nobody was like, "Oh, he's just a rapper," or "He's just a singer now." Like, he's on a different level, He's kind of reached that like Prince level where it's like he's just an artist.
Thing. But I will say when he does do raps, he usually outshines anybody he's on the song with.
Exactly. On Oldie, he had the best verse on Oldie, or one of them.
Raph, he has the best verse, like with A$AP Rocky and stuff. Like
Right.
Blue Whale is an amazing. Like when he wants to rap, he's
good.
Yeah, he's really transcends that whole genre label. I don't even know what to call him because you can't call him like pop. You can't call him R&B.
He's just an artist, Really, he's just an amazing artist. Crazy. There's a song that he has out. Well, it's not out. I don't know if it's ever going to be released, but it's called "Eyes Like Sky." Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite Frank Ocean songs. But I don't know if it's ever going to come back out. It's one of those things that I guess he released it or it got leaked, and now it's been scrapped and taken. It's never going to be released again. I don't know if he sold it to somebody and they never released it or whatever.
I mean, we still haven't even seen those like dance edits he was doing. At the end of last year or whatever.
Right.
I think he's really. I don't know where I love Frank Ocean. I love his music. Sometimes I think he's like too artisty,
Can be.
With like his seemingly not wanting to release music and his handlement of merch and stuff. It's his super mystique like personality. Like it works. It's why a lot of people really love him. But
I think a part of that comes from the fear of getting too big.
I mean, he's huge. Like
he's huge, but if you think about it, if Frank Ocean was releasing quality albums every year, do you know how much bigger he would be?
Oh, I'm sure, because like, just think about the hype people have for this next album.
Exactly.
I mean, but it's also like, When's the last time he toured? Like Channel Orange or something? Like,
Did he not tour for Blonde?
I think he did one show and maybe some festivals, but I don't think there was a traditional tour.
Yeah, maybe he's just afraid of touring. I mean, that's understandable.
Oh no, yeah, I completely understand being like anxious about a lot of things, being an artist, but maybe it's just a part of me that's just being fiending for like new Frank stuff, you know?
More Frank, yeah.
Yeah.
Need Frank. No, I get it, and I think that's part of why he does it. He wants people to just like fucking need, you know, that way he doesn't become oversaturated and people are. He doesn't become like Kanye, where it's like, okay, fucking, you can stop putting out albums now. Like, just fucking take your time and release something really good.
Honestly,
you know,
like, I'd rather be fiending for your music than constantly being fed a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite Frank era?
Frank era?
Yeah, because I mean, you have like nostalgic, then you have like Channel Orange.
Yeah.
Blonde,
so,
and then after Blonded, or after like his Blonded era of like all the loose singles and stuff.
yeah, okay. So every era of Frank has been another nostalgic part.
Oh yeah.
Like, they all have their own nostalgia areas. So like Channel Orange, I was in high school and going through weird shit. And it, you know, it was one of those where like something about Channel Orange, every song sounds orange. Does that make sense?
I get it. I mean, the whole album is just a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's so amazing, and you know, at the time of Channel Orange, I didn't like the upbeat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like a lot of upbeat music when I was in high school. I was listening to a lot of sad shit all the time, and so, you know, only listening to like Pyramids or listening to Pink Matter or White and stuff like that, where I was only listening to the sad stuff, and then getting to go back and listen to the upbeat stuff and be like, wow, this is actually really good. You know, it created even like another era of Channel Orange. There's like two separate Channel Orange eras for me.
Oh, dude, I completely understand that, because like I heard it. I want to say it was back in like 8th grade is when I heard the album, and a lot of it just didn't like connect to me, I guess, at the time. Like, obviously you like the songs like Thinking About You, Super Rich Kids, or whatever.
Yeah,
great. But it wasn't until like later, and even now I'm still finding new appreciation for some of the songs. And I think that's the reason I love Channel Orange so much. Like, I think it's my favorite one, just because of how much I've come to really appreciate and love that album.
It's a much more cohesive album too.
Yeah, I can see that.
It really falls together. Blonde kind of has some parts where you're like, what the fuck, you know, like the skits, you know, you're like, why are these there? You know, Channel Orange at least kind of made sense because it was like a TV channel flipping.
No, yeah, I get it. And yeah, Blonde, I love Blonde. But something about Channel Orange, you know, like it's a much higher thing. And then I still haven't heard Endless. I have it, like I haven't
either.
I actually own it physical. I just haven't
Really?
owned it. Yeah, so I work at a bookstore, and someone traded in a like sealed copy of the DVD stream or whatever.
That's crazy.
So I got like a steal on it, but I've just left it sealed. And then
you should leave it sealed.
I found like a download online of like Endless. But I just haven't listened to it yet. You know?
I haven't listened to it either, but I have a friend who said that it was as good as Blonde.
That's what I hear. I hear it's really good.
Yeah.
Personally, I really like a lot of the, I don't know what you call it, post-Blonde era, Blonded era, where he's like on his radio stuff. Like Chanel.
Chanel era, yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff is really good too. I don't know. Frank is just one of those artists that I think I've really liked anything he's put out.
Yeah, it's hard to not like anything he's put out. And funny enough, you realize that he has written a lot of songs for artists like Justin Bieber.
Yeah, there's I have it too. There's a leak pack of like stuff he was like demoing for other people. It's like 200 songs or whatever, and you can hear them like on just other people's style of music, and it's interesting. Yeah,
it's like Justin Bieber's song "Bigger." It's one of my favorite songs from Justin Bieber, because I used to listen to Justin Bieber a lot when I was younger and got made fun of a lot for it, but whatever. But I really liked Bieber, and I really liked Bigger too. And then recently, what's that?
I don't know, I was reading what Fab said. Brand new hit. What's poppin'?
Oh, you're brand new hip poppin'. But recently I heard like Frank Ocean on Bigger, and I'm like, what the fuck? Did he like cover it or whatever? But it turns out he wrote it. I'm like, no shit. That's why I like it so much. You know, it makes sense. It's good because it was made by a real artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like even some of his cover, like he did a cover of Moon River.
Yeah, that's really good. The Moon River cover.
That one. Yeah. No, he's an artist that's like alien level, you know? He's just on a whole nother.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. And you know, it's so crazy. I wish I would have been alive during the era where you had like Jimi Hendrix and you know, Elton John and these people who were just didn't seem real. You know, like Prince and Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, of course. So, you know, like.
No, I've actually really been thinking that recently. Like, I was watching. There's that Michael Jordan doc that hit Netflix.
Right. Yeah.
And, like, while I was technically alive during some of those years, it would have been something else to like go through. That as like a college age kid, you know.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like I was just born when he won the finals in '98, sixth championship or whatever.
But like experiencing that in real time as like a 20-year-old kid, 23-year-old as I am now, that would have been.
Yeah, I would have been fucking losing my mind.
Because people like that were already icons. You know, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Jimmy, like you mentioned. I knew about them growing up. Like they were big people.
Yeah,
I didn't live through that era. So
what would it have been like to live through, you know, like fucking the Beatles? Like how crazy that would have been. You know.
I don't think we'll see anything like that. Like no matter how big, like, you know, I don't know, Drake or whatever is getting, it's not going to be the same level. Dude,
the closest thing we saw was Justin Bieber, man.
You think?
I don't know if you've ever watched the Justin Bieber Believe movie or whatever.
Oh, I have two sisters. I know a lot about Justin Bieber's career. I don't know, man, because like we have Bieber. I think Adele hits crazy numbers, you know, in this era.
Adele did hit crazy numbers,
but I don't think they're on that same level because a lot of that, you know, comes from social media, instant access to people. They didn't have that, and they were still like this massive, just global icon.
I don't know, man. JB was fucking huge.
Oh, yeah,
like
huge, massive.
Swarms of people shutting down hotels and shit that he was in. You know, like those concerts, those tours were ridiculous, and I think, I mean, first got to hit 1 billion views. I mean, that's he's the closest thing.
Like, that's huge.
Yeah. Granted, I mean, half of it was fucking hate this kid, but like the other half was, you know, that's why, you know, with Michael Jackson, everybody loved Michael Jackson. Nobody was like, fuck Michael Jackson. You know, a lot of people were like, fuck Justin Bieber, but like MJ had everybody, man. Like if you weren't trying to be like Michael Jackson back in the day, you were a loser, man, because he had it. You know, he was just that level of artist, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't matter that his voice was high. He had everybody moving. You know what I mean? Like, that was his thing. It wasn't that he was just some young kid. He was a grown man who was just doing his thing, you know, and came up from a young kid to a grown man and continued to be a great level of artist. And I think that's his career is the most tragic thing, I think, in music history, is the downfall of Michael Jackson.
It's really hard for me to like talk about a lot of that because I don't really know. Like I wasn't actively consuming his music at that time, you know.
Right. You know, I mean, there's a lot of like documentary stuff and theories and stuff like that. But more or less, Michael Jackson was trying to bring out the evil that was going on within the music labels and stuff like that. And there's a lot of imagery and stuff in his videos. And, you know, they don't really care about us and all that. heal the world. There was a lot of stuff that Michael Jackson was pushing, a lot of different agendas, and they literally killed him for it. There's interviews where they talk to like Janet and some of the other siblings, where they would go see Michael, and he'd be like half dead, and they're like, "What the fuck? What's wrong?" And he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't drink, he wouldn't, take anything, because he's like, "They're trying to kill me. Everybody's trying to kill me." Like, he was to that point where he's like, "I can't drink the water, they poisoned it. I can't eat the food, they poisoned it." And then, and he ends up dying from an overdose that his doctor gave him too much, like, what the fuck? How does that happen? How do you, as a doctor, taking care of the biggest artist in the world, the most, the king of pop, how do you fuck up and just give him too much and then don't go to jail for it?
Yeah.
What? It's one of those things. His was tragic. The downfall of Elvis Presley is tragic. You tend to see these mega stars. They just fall apart. Even Bieber, to an extent, fell apart.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we see that a lot with younger artists now. Is we see it like way more rapid because we see it in real time.
Yeah, and if you even think about it, not a lot of people think about her often, but like Demi Lovato, like that was what the fuck? Like, nobody was expecting that shit, but it happened, and she was a Disney artist,
Miley.
Miley was a fucking catastrophe. She's figured it out now, I guess, but like that was a rapid downfall, like.
See a lot of rapid tragic endings, like Mac, Juice, Lil Peep. Like, it's quick. Like, they have small careers. Like,
Mac got the longest career out of all of them, but like,
but even his career wasn't that long. I think it was like, what, 10 years, if that.
Yeah, I think he was only like 29.
Yeah.
No, he was 28. I think. How old was Mac Miller? He was 26, yeah, because I remember he was talking about "Don't let me join the 27 club."
Yeah, very young.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
And he was 16 or 17 whenever he started making music. I think Mac Miller, when he made Kool-Aid or dropped Donald Trump. Let's see, Donald Trump was his biggest song at first. 2011. He was born in 92. Let's see. At the age of 15 in 2010, he signed a record deal with Pittsburgh-based Rostrum Records. He has breakthrough mixtape "Kids" and "Best Day Ever" in 2011.
Oh, he was 16?
Yeah, so he was 16.
Yeah. That's
God
crazy.
damn, he was 16.
Yeah.
When he dropped Donald Trump. That's crazy. Well, he was that good of an artist, though. But
it was crazy to see him switch like the way he did, because he started off more frat rap, And then,
he was definitely frat rap, but he really, he's once he got into those drugs, man, he really started finding himself, I guess, to an extent.
I think that was like one of the first celebrity deaths that really hit. Because even though I wasn't like a massive fan of his, all throughout middle school and high school and college, I was listening to Mac Miller.
Exactly. I was very upset with Lil Peep just because I was a big Lil Peep fan.
Uh-huh.
And I had known about Lil Peep before I think he had like 7,000 views.
Wow.
Whenever I first heard a Peep song. Yeah, it was called "Beat It," and I don't think that it's on SoundCloud anymore. Because he used to take down his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like old songs that he didn't like anymore, he would take them down. And so let's see if it's still on. It's on there, but it's from other people.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it back on there, but I I'd heard it when it had like 7,000 views, and it was just one of those things where it's like, man, I really like this guy. Like, it's some weird. It was weird, but like I liked it. And then as the years gone on, you know, I saw his explosion, right? I saw him get bigger, and I saw all of that. And for him to die the way he did, just knowing that he was really about to explode, and like he was on tour when it happened, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, fuck, man. Like, it was so tragic and so upsetting. And then to have Mac shortly after, and now Juice World, you know, I really enjoy Juice World as well, and to have that happen, it's just one of those. It's just fucking tragic, man.
No, yeah, and I was gonna say Juice
X
World
was
is one of
tragic.
those.
You know,
Pop was the most recent one, you know.
yeah.
Well, maybe not the most recent. I don't know what's happened since then, but for me to notice like an artist about to blow up, and then just tragic ending.
Yeah. X was pretty tragic because he was on his way to blowing up as well. And you know, X probably wasn't a great person. He was starting to do better towards the end, but you know, there's no denying that he was on some other shit when it came to music wise, like his ability to make shit.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree with you there. I wasn't ever a big fan of his. Even just talking to music, I really couldn't get into it, but I could see why a lot of people did. I mean,
yeah. Well, there's a lot of like stuff if you listen to the way that he talked about music. There's a song called King of the Dead where it's him chatting in the beginning of it, and he was like, I found this sound in London, and I took it and I just did all this shit to it, and I made this or whatever. And it's just like just the level of production is just insane, just to be like, yeah, I found the sound and now I'm fucking with it.
Yeah.
You know, me as an artist, I don't just take a sound and start fucking with it. Like, I have to kind of have a blueprint in my head of how I want it to sound, and then I, you know, plug things in and make it sound how I wanted it to sound. But for him, he's just like, let's just fuck with it until it sounds cool. You know? Like, that level of artistry and that level of thinking, I don't understand.
No, it's
so
crazy.
It's really cool to see, you know, people do that.
I think that's why it's so hard to like break into that kind of like artist scene. You have to have a whole different way of thinking when it comes to things.
Exactly. You know, like Lil Peep was a great person. If you get a chance, go watch the Lil Peep documentary, man. I think it might still be on Netflix. I might have taken it off at this point, but there's a documentary about like his life and everything, and you know, he just had a lot of troubles, man. Same thing with Mac. They just had a lot of shit that was eating at them, and they couldn't do anything about it. But musically, you know, that's what makes them so great, is because they're so relatable for the people who have troubles and who have problems. You know, they can listen to it, and you know, like one of my good friends, he didn't show me Peep, but he listened to Peep like religiously for a while, and he was addicted to Xanax, right? And you know, me, I was from a totally different kind of friend group, but I also listened to Peep and everything like that, and we bonded over that, and I was able to start becoming more friends with him, like more frequently, and I got him, you know, off of the Xans, and you know, and I kind of talked him into understanding like this isn't all that it is for you, you know what I mean? Yeah. So had we not been able to listen to the same kind of music in that sense, had Peep not existed, you know, that probably would have never happened. So it's one of those things where it's like he's able to bring a lot of people together, you know, just based off of his music alone. Two totally different people, you know. And it made something good happen from that. So
yeah, I see that. I can see that.
It's the coolest thing about music is that it brings so many different cultures, you know, and people together.
Oh yeah, and it promotes a lot of discussion. Like, there's just endless things you can talk about, and
yeah,
honestly, great art.
Great art.
Yeah.
How are you feeling right now?
Feeling good. You?
I'm feeling good.
Getting a little
Feeling
hungry.
alright. Yeah. Do you wanna? What do we got? 3 right now. Do you want to go get something to eat and just kill it here?
I'm
Or
good
do you
with
wanna
ever,
keep
man.
going?
I don't want to keep you on here. If you're getting tired of it, I'm good with that. I'm with the flow.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever.
I'm good to hop off. My voice is getting a little hoarse
No, yeah,
because
all right, man.
I haven't talked this much in 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you, physically draining.
But I am down to do it again.
Dude, yeah, that'd be awesome. Let me know when you start feeling
we
better.
can we can we can start like doing like album stuff or whatever, or just
Yeah. Oh, I
just a fucking
love, like,
talk show. I don't care. I'm down
chatting
to
like
talk about
this.
whatever. I talk
Random
about it
chatting
all.
is fun. Like, I like talking music, movies, whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever, man.
and we get to learn more about each other, like
Yeah.
and about our styles of stuff. So
Honestly, because I still want to talk to you about Ghost of Tsushima, because I heard you mention that earlier, and I wanted to ask
oh
you.
hell yeah,
Yeah, so that would be a whole nother thing to talk about.
hell yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on and chatting, dude.
Well, I appreciate you letting me, man.
Yeah,
Sorry,
dude.
I couldn't fucking find my glasses at first.
No, dude, you're all good. All fine. So thanks. Thanks to anybody who tuned in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if you guys are still watching, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, for real. We'll come back at you some other time soon. Thanks.